Hello and welcome. This is Aso TV News. I am Tina Oje Achu. The headlines. President Tinubu assures Nigerians of dividends of renewed hope agenda reforms. FCT Minister Barrister Nyesom Wike inspects project, thanks President for intervention in Rivers crisis. Nigerian police issue stern warning ahead of FCT area council elections. And now the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu has assured Nigerians of his administration's resolve to ensure the dividends of the renewed hope agenda reforms are felt across every state and community in Nigeria. He charged members of the National Economic Council, comprising state governors, key government officials, and other relevant stakeholders to recommit themselves to the delivery of the renewed hope agenda. President Tinubu stated this on Tuesday in Abuja in his closing remarks during the second edition of the National Economic Council conference held at the State House Conference Hall. The theme of the two-day conference was Delivering Inclusive Growth and Sustainable National Development, the Renewed Hope National Development Plan. The President expressed the honor of declaring the conference opened with a clear call for unity of purpose, fiscal discipline, and coordinated action under the Renewed Hope agenda. Represented by the President of the Senate, Gospel Akpabio, President Tinubu noted that reform is not an event, but a process that requires courage, patience, and consistency from all stakeholders. The President emphasized that while the Renewed Hope agenda is not a slogan, but a national commitment, such commitment demands that we move beyond dialogue to delivery. He commended the chairman of INEC, Vice President Kashim Shettima, for his steady leadership of the National Economic Council and for guiding deliberations with clarity and focus. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Nyesom Wike, has continued his routine inspection of ongoing infrastructure projects with visits to the Life-Cam N5 road corridor and the Karsana districts. Speaking on the Life-Cam N5 project being executed by Julius Berger, the minister said major construction work has been completed. He explained that only walkways and other finishing touches were ongoing. Wike noted that bridges earlier observed as incomplete had now been fully delivered with 4 lanes on each side. He added that the project is expected to be inaugurated as part of activities marking President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's 3rd year in office.
I sincerely thank them and believe that on our own part, we'll make sure that they get the necessary funding so as to finish this project on time. But we're very happy.
The minister also inspected the Karsana Road project being handled by Lubrix Construction. He described the road as a major ring road spanning over 10 kilometers and expressed satisfaction with the quality of work. He said visible progress on the carriageways and walkways shows the contractor is on course to meet the May-June completion timeline, assuring that the FCT administration will provide the necessary funding to ensure timely delivery. Reacting to media reports on President Tinubu's intervention in the political disagreement between him and the governor of Rivers State, Similari Fubura, Wike said the president acted in his role as a father to resolve issues between the executive and the legislature in the state.
Yes, Mr. President has been very kind to the people of the state. If there seems to be a problem between the legislature and the governor, and as a father, he really has to intervene. I remember this is the second time Mr. President is intervening. I believe, by the grace of God, this will be the last time. I believe that the Assembly, I've told them to do the needful to obey Mr. President, which I know they will not hesitate. And I also believe that the governor will carry out his own part to make sure that this is the final time Rivers people will begin to hear this kind of discord.
The Joint Senate and House of Representatives Committee on Land Transport has commended the Federal Ministry of Transportation for its performance in 2025 despite severe funding constraints. The Special Assistant Media and Publicity to the Minister of Transportation, Umaru Jibri Alkali, in a statement on Wednesday said The commendation came during the defense of the ministry's 2026 budget proposal in Abuja. Chairman of the committee, Senator Adamu Aliero, said the ministry recorded notable progress even though it received only about 1% of its approved capital budget last year, adding that securing about $200 million in private sector funding commitment was a positive development for the sector. Co-chair of the committee, Representative Blessing Onu, described the budget presentation as detailed and announced plans for oversight visit to key projects, including the Kano-Maradi rail line. Earlier, the Minister of Transportation, Senator Said Alkali, said about 70% of projects in the 2026 budget are rollovers from 2025 due to delayed funding. He said the 2026 proposal will focus on completing ongoing projects, expanding rail infrastructure, developing modern bus terminals, and improving port connectivity, in line with the federal government's economic agenda. The chairperson of the House of Representatives Committee on Women Affairs, Mrs. Kafilat Ogbara, has noted the crucial role of the Ministry of Women Affairs in addressing the multifaceted challenges facing women in the country. The lawmaker noted these in her address at the 2026 budget defense session with the Minister of Women Affairs, Hajar Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, at the National Assembly. The chairperson said the committee will engage in meaningful discussions about the financial allocations to support the critical work of empowering women and advancing gender equality in Nigeria. On her part, the minister, Hajar Iman, gave an overview of the 2025 budget performance, saying that the ministry will need more funding to meet its obligations. The House of Representatives Committee on Agricultural Colleges and Institutions has given all institutions under its oversight 24 hours to submit evidence of their internally generated revenue. Chairman of the committee, Mr. Biodun Akinlade, issued the directives as resolution reached during a budget defense session with the relevant agencies at the National Assembly. He warned that the 2026 budget defense of any institution that fails to comply would be suspended. The lawmaker explained that agencies appearing before the committee are expected to justify their budget proposals by providing details on the implementation of the 2025 budget, as well as the projections and priorities contained in their 2026 estimate. The committee, however, expressed concern over the non-release of capital funds to the agencies in 2025. The House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee investigating power sector reforms and expenditure between 2006 and 2024 has constituted a 7-man subcommittee to conduct a forensic audit of the usage of gas supply to electricity generation companies across the country. This followed adoption of a motion powered by a member, Mr. Harrison Nwadike, who questioned the rationale behind the continued supply of gas to the moribund Sapele power plant over the past 1 year. Mr. Nwadike said the committee made a discovery during its recent oversight visit to the plant in Sapele, Delta State, noting that despite receiving gas supplies, the facility has not generated electricity. Earlier, chairman of the Ad Hoc Committee, Mr. Al Mustafa Aliyu, said there were widespread concerns among Nigerians that Seplat Energy Company was not supplying adequate gas to GenCos as required, thereby strangulating power plants and shortchanging the country. In defense, the managing director of Seplat Energy, Mrs. Ibiada Itoto, dismissed the claims, insisting that the company had remained committed to supporting the federal government's power sector reform agenda. Also, the general manager, Gas, Seplat Energy Company, Mr. Olubukola Fasoyi, disclosed that the Sapele plant is currently indebted to Seplat to the tune of 20 billion naira for gas supplied. Chairman of the committee, Mr. Liu, expressed disappointment and wondered how a company of Seplat's stature allegedly lacked the internal structure to detect foul play in the utilization of gas supply to power plant. The Hausa Fulani community in Gwaglada Area Council has formally endorsed the All Progressive Congress chairmanship candidates for the upcoming Area Council's election, Alhaji Usman Yahaya. Speaking at the event, the chairman of the All Progressives Congress in the Federal Capital Territory, Alhaji Abdulmalik Usman, described the endorsement as a clear indication that the APC is set for victory in the Gwaglada Area Council election, scheduled for the 21st of this month. He assured the electorate that supporting the party at the center would guarantee sustained development at the grassroots level. Also speaking, the incumbent chairman of Gwaglada Area Council, Alhaji Abubakar Jibringiri, said continuity in governance remains the best option in a democratic system. He noted that voting for Alhaji Usman Yahaya would ensure increased dividends of democracy for the people of Gwaglada Area Council. In his remarks, former member of the House of Representatives, Abuja South, and APC senatorial candidate in the last general election, Zakari Angulu-Dobi, commended the Hausa Fulani community for what he described as a wise and progressive decision, adding that the APC remains the party capable of delivering meaningful development. The highlight of the occasion was the presentation of awards by Fulani Hausa community leaders to key APC stakeholders in the FCT in recognition of their contributions to party growth and community development. The Nigeria Police Force Federal Capital Territory Command has warned that it will not take election-related offenses lightly as preparations intensify for the forthcoming FCT Area Council elections. The FCT Commissioner of Police, CP Miller, gave the warning during a sensitization and security meeting with political party leaders, candidates, traditional rulers, and other stakeholders held in Gwaglada Area Council. The FCT Commissioner of Police, CP Miller, represented by the Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of Administration and Finance, DCP Lawrence Iwodi, appealed to all stakeholders to embrace cordial working relationships before, during, and after the elections, stressing that security agencies will deal decisively with any form of electoral misconduct.
If we work together, there is no way that we will not have a very peaceful and successful election. That is the appeal we want to make to everybody. The political parties are vying to take it all. It's normal. It may not always be possible. It may not always come the way you expect. Whichever way it goes, as long as the process is orderly and peaceful, it is okay. And of course, what is the position of the law? If things do not go your way and you feel that something wrong has taken place, there's provision for redress.
In his remarks, the host of the chairman of Gwaglada Area Council, Alhaji Abubakar Jibringiri, represented by the council secretary, Alhaji Muhammad Saba, also preached peace, urging political actors and their supporters to conduct themselves responsibly. He further called on the Independent National Electoral Commission to maintain its tradition of neutrality and ensure the emergence of credible results.
The chairman has urged all and sundry in respect of this election on, during, and after the election to maintain peace, because it is only with peace that progress can be articulated and implemented. The INEC We urge INEC to maintain their usual impartiality and come out with a very clean election results.
Comrade Kasimu Mohammed Igwa, PDP chairmanship candidate in Goglada, commended the police for the initiative and pledged their commitment to peaceful elections.
As a candidate, a meeting like this, a welcome development that I felt is coming at the right time, and the Commissioner of Police have done the right thing. They have shown an exemplary leadership for calling all the community stakeholders to sensitize us against election violence, peaceful conduct, so that the coming election will be peaceful, free, and fair. Thank you.
Our correspondent Abdullahi Mukhtar reports that the highlight of the event was the signing of a peace accord by chairman of political parties in attendance, reaffirming their resolve to shun violence and abide by the rules of the electoral process. Security agencies present at the meeting included the Nigerian military, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, and other sister agencies, as well as the Civilian Joint Task Force. You are watching Aso Television News. You can watch us live on DSTV channel 392, also on Star Times TV, channel 127, and Free TV, channel 507. We are also on the UHF band on channel 38. Still to come, federal government reaffirmed its commitment to climate-informed planning. Do stay with us for details of these and more. Thanks for staying with us. Moving on, the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adegboyega Oyetola, has presented a 10.5 billion naira budget proposal for the Federal Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy for the 2026 fiscal year. Oyetola made this known while defending the ministry's budget before a joint sitting of the Senate Committee on Marine Transport and the House of Representatives Committee on Ports and Harbors, Maritime Safety, Education and Administration, Shipping Services, Inland Waterways, and Ocean and Fisheries. He said the proposed budget, which comprises 8.24 billion naira for capital expenditure, 453.86 million naira for overheads, and 1.81 billion naira for personnel costs, would only sustain minimal operational continuity rather than deliver meaningful reforms or sectoral growth. The minister explained that the ministry oversees interconnected subsectors, including ports, shipping, inland waterways, fisheries, and aquaculture, which collectively handle over 90% of Nigeria's international trade by volume, national food and nutrition security, and economic competitiveness. According to him, these deductions had weakened liquidity and reduced the operational flexibility of key agencies responsible for maritime safety, port efficiency, and regulatory oversight, with far-reaching consequences including port congestion, higher logistic costs, delayed cargo movement, revenue losses, and inflationary pressures. He stressed that what appeared to be an accounting issue had become a national economic concern. Oyetola also said that the 2026 budget of the Council for the Regulation of Freight Forwarding in Nigeria was wrongly placed by the Budget Office under the Federal Ministry of Transportation, despite the fact that it is an agency under the Federal Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, saying the misalignment undermined clarity in oversight and policy coherence within the maritime logistics value chain. The chairman of the Senate Committee on Maritime Transport, Senator Wasiu, assured that the National Assembly will carefully examine the proposals, noting the strategic importance of the marine and blue economy to national development and economic resilience. The federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to climate-informed planning with the unveiling of the 2026 seasonal climate prediction by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency. Speaking at the presentation in Abuja, Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, described the forecast as a key national tool for guiding government, businesses, and citizens on climate-related decisions. He said climate change now affects aviation safety, food security, infrastructure, national security, and the economy, stressing that reliable weather information is critical for sustainable development. Highlights of the 2026 outlook show early rainfall onset in parts of the south and middle belt, while Borno State is expected to experience a late onset. Most parts of the country are projected to record normal rainfall, with some areas experiencing above or below average levels. The minister called on government agencies, states and private sector, and the media to support the dissemination and use of the forecast. Climate Director General Professor Charles Anosike said the agency is adopting emerging technologies, including artificial intelligence, to improve forecasting, accuracy, and expand climate advisory services for farmers and other users. Stakeholders at the event described the seasonal climate prediction as a vital tool for national planning and disaster risk reduction. Members of the National Youth Service Corps, enlisted as digital champions under the federal government Digital Literacy for All program, have trained over 500,000 Nigerians in basic digital skills since the commencement of the initiative. The Director General of the National Information Technology Development Agency, Kashifu Inowa Abdullahi, disclosed this today at the NYSC headquarters, Abuja, while presenting 8 laptop computers to corps members that were adjudged as outstanding in both their training and field performances at the national level of the exercise. Recalling that the DLFO initiative stems from a presidential mandate from NITDA to achieve 95% digital literacy by 2030, with an ambitious midterm target of 70% by 2023. Abdullahi said the agency, in collaboration with the NYC, trained 17,760 corps members across the country on digital literacy within a year. He assured that the NITDA NYC collaboration had also enabled accelerated diversification through industrialization, digitization, creative acts, manufacturing, and innovation. The DG disclosed that NITDA had developed a national digital literacy framework in collaboration with the NYSC, adding that the agency would continue to empower corps members with IT skills that would enable them educate the public on basic digital skills. He explained that the target was for each champion to train at least 2 people in a day and 60 in a month, adding that this training is going to be one-on-one in the marketplaces, religious places, and motor parks, because these people are mostly the vulnerable groups and victims of online fraud. In his remarks, the NYSC DG, Brigadier General Lakunle Nafiu, commended NITDA for encouraging digital literacy among Nigerians. General Nafiu said with over 400,000 graduates passing through the scheme annually, NYSC was sending refined corps members with skills and necessary empowerment tools back to the society as job creators and employment ambassadors. He added that the corps members were, as he put it, the perfect channel to drive the critical national objective of digital empowerment for all Nigerians. Another highlight of the occasion was the presentation by the NITDA DG of a dummy check of 3.5 million naira to his counterpart of the NYSC for the core digital champions. An Arik Air Boeing 737 aircraft operating a domestic flight from Lagos to Port Harcourt has made a safe emergency diversion to Benin following an engine abnormality. The Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau says the crew directed abnormal indications on one of the engines during the cruise phase and carried out a precautionary shutdown before diverting to the nearest suitable airport. The aircraft landed safely in Benin and all passengers and crew disembarked without injury. Initial checks revealed significant damage to the affected engine. The NSIB says it has launched an investigation into the incident with a preliminary report expected within 30 days. It added that it is working with the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority and Arik Air to determine the cause of the occurrence. As part of plans to stimulating foreign exchange liquidity in the retail segment of the market and meeting with legitimate needs of end users, the Central Bank of Nigeria has approved a weekly foreign exchange purchases by each bureau de change at 150,000 US dollars, and that utilization comply with existing BDC operational guidelines. This is contained in a circular signed by the CBN Director of Trade and Exchange Department, Dr. Musa Nakoji, noting that the Apex Bank directed all duly licensed BDCs are permitted to access foreign exchange through any authorized dealer bank of their choice at the prevailing market rate. It is close that the move aims to deepening market efficiency and ensuring broader access to foreign exchange across the country. The circular further restricts settlement practices, mandating that all FX transactions be conducted through settlement account with licensed financial institutions, adding that third-party transactions are prohibited, while cash settlement is limited to a maximum of 25% of each transaction amount. And the United States has deployed about 200 troops to Nigeria to train the country's military in the fight against Islamist militants, according to a report by the Wall Street Journal on Tuesday. The deployment comes weeks after U.S. President Donald Trump accused Nigeria of failing to protect Christians from terrorist attacks. The report further explained that the troops were expected to strengthen Nigeria's counter-terrorism capacity through training and operational support. It added that the newly deployed personnel would supplement a small number of U.S. military advisors already in Nigeria, who assist local forces with intelligence to identify targets for military strikes. Speaking during a recent virtual briefing on Tuesday, the commander of the United States Africa Command, General Dagwin Anderson, confirmed increased collaboration between both countries following high-level engagement. According to the Defense Headquarters, the collaboration covers professional military education, intelligence sharing, logistics support, and strategic dialogue aimed at addressing shared security challenges, particularly terrorism. A statement by the Director of Defense Information, Major General Sumaila Uba, said all engagement with the United States were conducted with full respect for Nigeria's sovereignty and within established bilateral frameworks. And that's the bulletin, but before we go, let's take another look at one of our major stories. President Bola Tinubu has assured Nigerians of his administration's reserve to ensure the dividends of the renewed hope agenda reforms are felt across every state and community in Nigeria. And that's the news. I am Tina Oje Achu. Many thanks for watching.